Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Overcast Gamers Show. My name is Abe Foster, and I'm joined by Regan Harper.
Good evening.
And Balthazar Valentine.
Hello.
And thank you for tuning in again, everyone. We actually have quite a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We're going to dive right into some more Overcast Gamer related stuff. Not really stuff to do with our lives, not really games we've been playing yet, although we will get to that. We're going to talk about the new website. Now, Regan, you've been working on this for a wee while there. Do you just want to tell us a little bit about the new website? What spurred this on? What are the sort of tenets of the new website? What's going on with it, man?
Excellent. What spurred it on? I suppose part of that was that we were just kind of getting a little bit over. So when we built the first website, it was, I guess it was a bit busy. It was a bit noisy. There was quite a bit going on with it. There was colors here and there. And like none of us are particularly none of us are designers, right? And that shit is hard if you don't know what you're doing. So the
really
new,
is.
Yeah, it really, really is. So the new website is kind of just simple, right? Like, I guess that if that's the design tenet is like just our stuff, no bullshit, just our stuff there, easy to find things. Yep. And well, I hope it's easy to find things. And yeah, just hopefully a little bit simpler and a little bit nicer to look at, I guess, with your eye holes.
So there's no Twitter feed, there's no animated rotating thingy on the homepage. Everything's static and quite pretty.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of over those rotator things.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I've never really been a huge fan of those.
They're kind of distracting, right?
Yeah. And sometimes you'll see something and then
you just
it'll rotate past and you'll click on it and you'll get the wrong article. You'll go into the one that has just come up instead of the one you just missed.
Yeah, totally. You want the article about, the new PlayStation and you get the article about the old phone or something. It's just not a good time.
Yep. Nice. Well, yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, it's overcastgamer.com. That's the brand new website there. Most recent bit of content we have is Regan's Mario Tennis Aces review, which he did a couple of weeks ago there for Nintendo Switch. So go and check that out if you'd like to. And we do have an archive of all the podcast episodes up there as well. We have a few features. Most recently, I delved into the trial version of Octopath Traveller, first 3 hours of Octopath Traveller. Gave that a bit of a write-up there as well, so check that out if you'd like to. The next thing we wanted to talk about is to go along, hand in hand with the new revamp of our look of our website, is the new logo. So the logo's been it's been the same thing for what since we were formed, really 2.5 years, going on 3 years. It's been the same old sort of logo, and that was cool back in the day when we were three guys, talking video games on our lunch break or down at the bar or whatever. But we're kind of trying to make things maybe a little bit more serious now, and not serious as in the content will be serious, because that's never going to happen. But serious as in we'd like to make this, a bit more. We'd like to spend more time on this. We'd like to have this as a bit more part of our life. So we've decided to revamp the logo as well.
Yes.
We ran a competition on our Facebook for new logos because we went through a few iterations and things and we couldn't really decide.
I think
everyone liked different ones, and
you might have settled on sort of one of our major issues that we have. It's difficult to kind of it's hard, man. Making decisions is hard.
It really is.
Not just in life, but in just things like logos. It's difficult to settle on things.
It's tricky because with a logo, I put so much into a logo because that's what everyone sees, right? That's the visual representation of your brand.
Totally.
And who you are. So it needs to be something. It needs to strike this nice balance of being not abrasive but fun and friendly. All that sort of bullshit. So we eventually just got tired of scrapping over which logo we wanted to use, because we never really got anything we were super hyped on. We sort of commissioned one person, and that sort of turned out alright, I suppose. But yeah, so we've run a competition on Facebook. We asked people to like or comment on we put up a high resolution image of each of the logos, asked people to comment or like on the one they liked the most, and we have a winner by quite a substantial margin. One of the logos has taken it out, so we're actually going to do that draw live. We said to people we'd give them a little something if they commented it or liked, and were chosen. So we're going to do that live on the podcast. Regan, do you want to whip that up, man?
I can take it away. Yeah. So, as Abe said, had to like or comment on any of the photos to kind of submit your vote, and by doing so, you got into the draw, and we're going to send you a little bit of something, and we'll be in touch with the winner about said something. But how we're going to do this is basically we are taking the people who liked the winning suggestion, and we'll put them in a list, and we're going to just randomly essentially roll a dice, and we're going to choose someone from that list. So here goes. I am clicking over to the random number generator. Imagine there's a drum roll. Maybe I'll put one in post.
Yeah, I was going to do one, then I was like, no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah. Here we go. Generating now. The number that's come up is number. Wait, hang on. No, my page is glitched out. Hang on. Number 5. Number 5.
Right.
A low number.
Who is that?
The number of the person who has won. The name is Widimu Tuhifai.
Widimu. Congratulations, mate.
Congratulations. We will be in touch. I don't know if we'll be in touch before the podcast comes out, but anyway, that's that's all just logistics. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we absolutely will. So thank you very much, everyone, for commenting or liking, those logos, participating in our week competition there. We've never done anything like that before, so it was really awesome to see people getting on board and helping us out with that, with our indecision. We'll probably be back with more of those. So I kind of like crowdsourcing business decisions. It's quite fun, actually.
Yeah, quite fun. Means that you don't have to make decisions yourself. It's win-win. Win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations, Widimu, and we'll be in touch, mate. So
yeah.
The next thing I wanted to delve into here is we've actually had our first piece of mail, or a question directed at Overcast Gamer.
Yes.
We had someone get in touch with an interesting query. Regan, do you want to jump in on this one, man?
So I've kind of labelled this as kind of a question from the community, because there are a few things out there as far as kind of gaming culture and that sort of thing that can sometimes just confuse people a little bit. Like, what's up with gamers? Why do they like staying in their parents' basements? That sort of thing.
What's up with gamers? the age-old question.
What's up with gamers? And so the question that's been posed from Matt Limbury of Karori in Wellington is, what's up with gaming chairs? And I think it's a fair question. I'm not going to preface this with anything, because I sort of have thought about this a bit, but guys, I just want to kick off with, what are your initial thoughts? What's up with gaming chairs?
Balthazar, you go ahead, man.
I have a gaming chair, because my old chair crapped out finally, and I was just in the market for a new chair. And while gaming chairs may seem expensive, posture correcting high quality office chairs are even more expensive. So a gaming chair is actually a cheap alternative in terms of a chair that is extremely comfortable and made to help your posture for long durations sitting in it. They're much cheaper than the actual, Posturepedic or whatever frickin' chairs. They're great. My chair's great. I love my chair. I live in my chair. My chair's more comfortable than the couch or the bed. Like, it's great. I love it.
Does your chair have one of those, how they make gaming chairs with the little pillows on by the head? Does it have one of those little pillows?
So yes and no. It doesn't have specifically one of those little pillows that I've seen. It does have a more padded area by the head that sticks out so that you can lean back on it like it's a little pillow. But it's also like it's not. Basically, if you want to lean back in it, you can, and it is perfectly comfortable and it acts like a pillow. But it's there so that it's there in a position so that if you don't want to do that and you want to sit up properly and use the chair properly as a chair like a human being with a spine, then it's not in the way at all. So I've never used that little pad that's sticking out near the head area. I'm normally sitting up straight. That's why I got this chair, because I wanted to be able to sit up straight and have a chair that was comfortable and kind of corrected my spine while I sat straight, because my old chair was one of those classic
it wasn't like
the concave
chair,
curved backs. So your spine actually curls as you sit in it, kind of thing. So it was just so old that the back had become concave and just kind of sucked me into it when I sat down.
Nice.
So I got one that has like a firm back that's convex and actually like resets my spine to how it's supposed to be, and I love it. And I think gaming chairs are awesome because they're a cheap alternative to the actual posture correcting office chairs.
Interesting.
But they basically do the same job.
Yeah. See, so basically, the angle of this question originally, when it came to me, was like, what's because there are office chairs, and I'm sure there would be cheap office chairs available if gaming chairs weren't a thing. Like, what is driving this market? Do you think it's so? The theory was that it was essentially esports, right? That like now that there are like people that we look up to as kind of esports professionals, and they're in these chairs. Like,
I don't think anyone looks up to those guys.
I'm not sure about that, Regan.
Do you think we're like, and so in the conversation we had, like the comparison was drawn to something like football players or something that have shoes that people want, like Air Jordans or something, like, oh, I want the Air Jordans because Michael Jordan wears them. Like, do you think like there's just this weird thing about gaming chairs on that level, or nah? Am I talking shit?
I don't think so. I don't think so personally.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by that too much either, Regan. I think the thing is, and I've never really liked gaming chair. Like I'll always take practicality over fashion any day, anywhere. And gaming chairs have always stood out like a sore thumb to me, in that they go for that edgy look. They try and look real cool, and they try and look like you're in some sort of futuristic Blade Runner flying car sort of thing. And it's never really rubbed me the right way. I'm always down for muted colours. No colour if possible. Blacks.
Mine
grays,
is, Abe, for mine is black leather with black padding and black trim and black cushioning and black arms.
I can get down with something that's like you're sitting in a black hole. That's great.
Yeah, the only thing on it that is colour is just the words Guerrilla Gaming are in white on the bit where my head goes, so you can't even see it. But the whole chair itself, I'm with you, like a lot of them are super gaudy and they've got like the bright red stripes down the side and stuff like that. But this one is just black on black with more black.
Do you reckon you could get away with like just taking a game chair to the office?
Okay, here's the thing. My stepdad bought a gaming chair because his office chair crapped out, and he wanted a recommendation, and he tried my chair, and he was like, holy hell, this is more comfortable than my old office chair I had. And his old office chair was ridiculous. It was like $1,200 or something.
Damn.
And my chair was like, $200.
Yeah.
And
so it sounds like it's purely just like a value for money proposition, right?
It like that for me. That's 100%. Like, I was the same, and I like this whole topic just being about basically slapping the word gaming in front of something. What does that mean? And I have that question for gaming glasses. No fucking idea. They look very silly. I was about to say a lot of things that are questionable. I think they're absolutely ridiculous. I think they're the most stupid concept out there. Just where if you're afraid that your screen's too bright, dim your screen. Yeah. Don't buy a fucking accessory to slap on your face. Like, what is wrong with you? And so I was the same. I was like, what is a gaming chair? That's ridiculous. Just buy an office chair. And then when my chair crapped out and I was looking into them, I was like, oh, they are just office chairs, but a little bit cheaper because they're priced at gamers, i.e., the assumption being people who still live at home and don't have much of a budget. I honestly think that's what it means. I think the word put on the front just means it's affordable.
Interesting. But I agree.
It's okay
I'm glad you
by me.
brought up... Sorry, Abe, go for it.
No, I was just going to talk about the gaming glasses because I think we're probably moving away from that, and I'd like to delve into that a little bit. So at my previous job, I had the offer of some, I don't know if they were gaming glasses, but they were glasses to wear whilst you're working for extended periods of time in front of a computer screen, or a couple of computer screens. And I put them, they look like those sort of protective glasses you wear when you're using a chainsaw or something like that.
Aye.
And you put them on, and I wear glasses or I wear contact lenses, so I'd always have to be wearing contacts when I wore these, because otherwise it would, all sorts of issues would arise if you wear two pairs of glasses. So I'd be wearing contacts and I'd put these things on. One, the aircon in any office dries out contact lenses, so it's never a fun time. So always having to go to the bathroom every sort of, half an hour to an hour and refresh the contact lens. Otherwise it'd just be horrible and dry and make me feel tired and awful. And I'd be belligerent. But the other thing is, it's just weird, like wearing these glasses like I'm going out to fell a tree or something like that, and I'm just answering emails. It didn't feel right, and I just felt like a bit of a knob, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm not on board for those.
Yeah, I think that's why we haven't seen gaming glasses. Like, everyone knows, like, a gaming chair, cool. Like, that's just a chair, and it just has some bells and whistles. I think everyone deep down knows that gaming glasses, just not okay. Just not okay.
They're that one step above looking like those 3D glasses, right? And I'm talking about the old school 3D, like the red and green lens paper 3D glasses sort of thing. It's like wearing those out in public.
I can't help but feel like gaming glasses were created by someone who was in every way exactly like that character from Grandma's Boy, the one who runs the company, like the lead developer dude.
JP, yeah.
Yeah, the one who walks around making robot noises, thinking that people think he's cool because he wears a black leather coat and makes robot noises. Like, that's the kind of dude who invented gaming glasses, who was like, I'll get women if I wear shades while I'm playing my games. Like, that's it.
That's true. And Grandma's Boy, if everyone hasn't seen it, is a really good film. It's super stupid. It's really dumb. And it's a Happy Madison production, so it's made by Adam Sandler's company. And you can obviously see how where the quality of that's gone. But Grandma's Boy is just a really fun film. I've watched that so many times, that movie.
Yeah,
brilliant. Well, anyway, I think that's kind of delved into that. Yeah,
that probably answers your question there. Little Matt Limbry from Karori, and thank you for providing us with that. And anyone, if you want to get in touch, if you have anything that you'd like us to discuss, overcastgamer@gmail.com, or you can email any of us personally, name@overcastgamer.com.
Yeah,
so
or Facebook, or like whatever your preference is.
Twitter, all that shit. We've got all that going on.
Just yell at us in the streets.
Yeah, that too. The final thing I wanted to touch on is a wee bit of a shout out. So everyone will know from previous, everyone who's listened to previous podcasts knows I'm a massive fan of Danny O'Dwyer, and his outfit there, Noclip, does the really, really good high quality video game documentaries. The most recent one came out yesterday, and it's on Good Old Games, the sister company parent company, I think, to CD Projekt, or it might be the other way around, or CD Projekt, as it's properly pronounced. And this is really fascinating. I didn't know how many hurdles GOG had to jump through. So everyone knows GOG. They're essentially they're sort of a platform like Steam marketplace that specializes in old games, DOS games and things like that. Your Monkey Islands, Space Quests, Fallout 1 and 2, that sort of thing. And they have all these available to download. You can buy them for a small price. They're usually under $10 or something like that. Buy them, download them, and they've optimized them to run on basically everything, I think. All the Windows, all the Mac, OSs and stuff like that. And in the documentary, they delve into the way they have to acquire these games. And going back to things like Sierra Company, or all Westwood, all those old companies that made fantastic games back in the day. It's really interesting to hear that sometimes they don't even have the code for their own games anymore. Sometimes they don't own the rights. Sometimes no one knows who owns the rights. And GOG makes it their mission to track down all the rights holders, whoever has the code, and basically works out deals with them to get these games on their platform. So some of these deals take years because they're literally, they're being detectives. They're hunting these people down and trying to figure out who has the rights to, bad example, but Baldur's Gate, or something like that. Who has the right? And maybe 5 different companies have the rights to Baldur's Gate, and they have to go in and get in touch with the legal representations for all these companies, and
that's really
work
cool.
out some deals. It's awesome.
I didn't realize
really
that was kind of GOG's sort of premise. Was that it's almost like they're building this kind of like archive of gaming history in a way.
That's exactly their mission statement, Regan. They're preserving video game history. That's their whole point, sort of thing. Which I find really, honourable. It's a really cool thing to be doing. They're essentially turning themselves into a virtual museum, which I think is fucking awesome. It's really cool. So check out the Noclip documentary. It's on YouTube. Just Google Noclip and it'll come up. Or he's also got a Patreon and stuff, so you can subscribe to that, give him some money. I used to do that when I had a steady stream of income coming in, and I will once I do again. But yeah, for now, just check out his docs. They're absolutely fantastic. There's a backlog of about 8 to 10 now of those high quality docs. Things like Doom, Rocket League, Frog Fractions, Spelunky. He goes into The Witness. He goes into some really, really interesting territory with those docs. So yeah, check it out. Oh, and I'll just say the best one so far, my favourite one, has been the one on the Grand Theft Auto Online communities, where these people were actually friends in real life and they meet up and they have giant parties in the southern states of America. And it looks amazing. They rent boats and go out, and they all have families and stuff. These aren't like basement dwelling nerds. These are dudes with full-time jobs who just love playing GTA Online.
Not gaming glasses wearing kind of people.
No, not at all. No. But
I hoped you were going in the direction of saying they get together and plan real-life heists.
That would be amazing. That would be... imagine the documentary. Imagine how stoked you'd be if you were making that documentary and it took that turn. Like, that would be an incredible plot twist.
You thought you were going with them to meet... Yeah, you thought you were going with them to meet more people in the community, but actually you were in a ride-along and they were the getaway driver.
Oh, man. We might have to start OCG production house and get something like that moving. But anyway, we'll move into what we've been playing in this last sort of 2 weeks. And I think both of these might be Balthazar. So, Balthazar, do you want to kick things off, man?
I have been actually. So, hang on. There's going to be momentary clickety clack. There it is. That was the clickety clack. Because this isn't something I've been playing, but while we're on the line of shout outs for something, this is a big thing that doesn't necessarily need a shout out because they're already a big company and they're doing perfectly well for themselves. But I've discovered something recently. As probably everyone knows, there is this service on Twitch called Twitch Prime, where you basically just get access to a bunch of in-game stuff every month, and you get, you can subscribe to a paid person for free or whatever. What I didn't know they did, which is my reason to subscribe, and I now subscribe to Twitch Prime, they also give like 4 games every month, like PlayStation Plus, but their subscription is $5 New Zealand a month. So I'm paying $5 a month to get 4 games on PC. So, for example, this month is Broken Age, Brutal Legend, The Bridge, and Serial Cleaner. Don't know what a couple of those
that
are,
last
but
one sounds amazing.
Yeah, Serial Cleaner, and the I in serial is like a knife, so like serial killer. But I think maybe you're cleaning up crime scenes after you've killed people from the little picture. But yeah, obviously Broken Age and Brutal Legend being known games there. Just going back through my library, because I've actually been subscribed for a couple of months now, I got Banner Saga 1 and 2, which are very well-received games.
Yeah.
I got Observer, which was a game that I already played a while back, just because it had a really cool premise where you're kind of this cyborg detective who investigates crime scenes by finding digital components, because it's in the future, of the people who have been killed, plugging them into himself and reliving their memories and trying to kind of piece together what happened. So yeah, it's basically, they're offering a games monthly games while you're subscribed as well, and obviously you can only download them on the month that they're the free game, but then you keep them, and as long as you're a Twitch Prime member, you can play them whenever you want. So just a little shout out there for Twitch Prime. As I said, Amazon's already doing well for itself. It doesn't need our help. But that is an aspect of that service that I didn't know about, and I reckon there's probably a lot of people who didn't know that was a thing. And it's a really good deal, $5 a month for four PC games.
Quick question on that, Balthazar. These games, are they the DRM free versions that you just download to your computer and they sit there, or do you get a Steam code, or how's that work?
So you have to download the Twitch Windows app. And then you download them through that app. So that app is also just Twitch, so you can watch Twitch or whatever on it, but then you download them through that app and launch them through the app, but they are installed on your machine, and they have executable files in the installation directory, so you can actually launch them from there. So they do fully install to your machine, but you need the app to be able to download and install them.
I see. Oh, awesome. No, that sounds great. I might start taking advantage of that. That sounds like a really affordable way to get new games or games.
And unlike PS4, it's with PlayStation Plus, it's very simple to stop and start again. Like, I find PS4 extremely hard to stop and start the subscription, because you've got to go through buried settings and delete your credit card details essentially, so it doesn't auto renew. Whereas in this, you just untick auto renew, and then you tick it again when you want to subscribe.
One time on PlayStation Plus, I thought I unsubscribed, and then 6 months later, I realized I hadn't, and and it was
that's so shady, eh?
Yeah, and it was just because of the way. Yeah, there's this settings, within disclaimers, within agreements to kind of navigate through. But anywho, that was my story.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wipe my credit card details when I want to unsubscribe from something.
I do as well, man. Ever since that the massive Sony hack, I refuse to leave my credit card details with Sony. I just will not do that.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Very good.
But yeah, as for what I've been playing, uncharacteristically for me, I've only really been playing one thing, which is an old game that I just repurchased on Switch, which is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 Switch Edition. Which is obviously a Switch port of Xenoverse 2, which is on PS4, Xbox, and PC. I'd played the core game on PS4, but Switch Edition has a whole load of extra stuff. Some of it is stupid fun, and some of it is just cool. So, for example, something on the Switch version is it goes through the Dragon Ball Super timeline as well. So it has a whole load of extra characters and stories and stuff in it. And basically the premise of Xenoverse is you are your own character. You can choose your race. You can be a Saiyan or a human or a Martian or a Frieza. And you are preserving the Dragon Ball timeline. So something will happen at one point in time which will create a chain reaction that will just cause all the villains to become more powerful or whatever and defeat all the heroes. So you're going back through and correcting those changes to make sure that the Dragon Ball storyline plays out as it's supposed to. So you're never defeating the villains, you're just beating them enough so that the hero can then have the advantage and come in and win it and everything.
Premise, I don't think I've ever heard of something like that being done. I guess it's just a reason for them to inject you back into earlier battles and things within that timeline, right? It's quite clever.
That's it, right? And it's a cool way for them to be like, look, anytime anyone tries to make an original Dragon Ball story, they fuck it up and it's crap. So we should stick to what people like, which is the actual Dragon Ball Z storyline. But at the same time, we also appreciate that a lot of games have already done that, and you're probably sick of just playing through the Dragon Ball Z storyline as well. So they've found a way to do both, like create an original story, but that they know people are going to like because it is still actually the original story. So no, it's really clever. And yeah, I've just been playing the hell out of it. It's great. Being portable helps. It means I can literally never put it down. And it's just fun, man. I thoroughly recommend it. It's never been on sale. I paid full price for it again. like $90. But I can vouch for that price because something I didn't find out until I was halfway through is the Switch version of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 also includes the full campaign from Xenoverse 1.
Nice.
So it's actually both games in one. And finally, the reason you want it on Switch over any other platform, Joy-Con motion controls. That's right, you can hold one in each hand and actually do the Spirit Bomb. Actually stand there with your hands in the air for 5 minutes, charging it up, and then throw it down. You can do the Kamehameha, you do Gallic Gun, Masenko, whatever the hell you want. And it actually, whoever the hell made this thing, they knew what they were doing. They were a Dragon Ball fan. They knew exactly what poses and arm movements and gestures that you would have to do those moves. And those are the damn things you have to do to use those moves.
Tell me
so
you played
play
this
the whole
mode
game
on the bus, Balthazar.
No, so I've not played that mode a whole lot. I did it to try it out because it looked like fun, and it is something I will just do every now and again because, like I said, it's stupid fun. But I have been mostly playing with the controller because it would be exhausting. The amount I've been playing it, I would like be dead or extremely ripped if I was playing it with the motion controls. Like, I feel like that is how you go Super Saiyan. You play that game with motion controls and you would just become so fit, so in shape.
It sounds like the Armageddon Kamehameha competition come home.
Yeah, and we all know I was the champion of that several years running. So I've had a lot of practice.
Really
We do now.
Yeah, those photos are some of the few photos that exist of me on the internet. But yeah, it's
Make a note
it's
of
a fantastic
that,
game.
and we'll track down those photos.
We'll find them.
I always cheated, to be fair. I never did the Kamehameha. I did, like Special Beam Cannon or Final Flash, because you would always get more attention if you did something different. And also, one of the judges was always one of the voice actors from the show, so I would do one of their characters' moves, and then they'd be on my side every time. Yeah, that's how you
Clever.
win.
Nice.
But yeah, that after playing a lot of that as well, I did some Dragon Ball Fighter Z on PS4, just because I was in a fighting game mood again. And that's kind of cemented its place in my regular roster of games now. I just play it online a bit, get my ass handed to me 90% of the time, and then 10% of the time come up against someone who's miraculously worse than me. And then I feel really good about myself.
Nice.
So that's nice.
Yeah.
Is it Dragon Ball Fighter Z or is it Dragon Ball Fighters?
So I say Fighter Z because the Z is capital at the end of it.
Sorry.
But it is also part of, there's no space before it, so who knows? It's probably Fighters, but I don't want to call it that.
Fair enough, understandably.
And finally, that is coming to Switch next month as well with a free, with an open beta. So I will probably try the Switch version of that because they're adding a few new modes to the Switch version that aren't on any of the others. So it's typically a 3v3 fighting game. But they're adding a 1v1 and a 2v2 mode to the Switch version, so that you can just play with one character or whatever if you want to, instead of a team of 3, which will be good.
Awesome, man. Bandai Namco, send us Dragon Ball Z copies of Dragon Ball Z, please.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, so that's everything you've been playing there, man?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. Regan, what have you been delving into?
Now, in the last podcast, we mentioned, Abe, you mentioned for a while there that you downloaded the Octopath Traveller demo, which is the first 3 hours. So that's the demo where you can play it's the entire game, but you can only play it for 3 hours. And when your save file hits that 3 hours, then you're locked out. Yep. And so I committed in that podcast to playing the demo, and I did, and then I bought the game. This
nice.
So I went through a bit of kind of a process of deciding whether or not I wanted to buy it, but I think they must have done some playtesting and found out that the 3 hour mark was kind of like a really good amount of time to give people just to sort of let the game get its hooks into them. Because by the time that 3 hours was up, I was pretty sold on it, and so that's what I've been playing, Octopath Traveller on Switch as well. So now, Abe, I recall you were kind of neither here nor there on it, from memory.
So I enjoyed around about 50% of the game, I would say, because about 50% of the game is battling. and I didn't enjoy that part of it. I enjoyed I love the art style, one of the most gorgeous art styles I've seen for a long, long time. I think I described it in my quote unquote review as diorama smeared with Vaseline.
Yeah, that's
what it
pretty. That's pretty much spot on. So you didn't
Yeah,
like the. It's interesting because for me, like the story exposition and things are quite cool, like and they're kind of set up for the characters and that sort of thing. But
Yep.
for me, like I'm really loving the I want to say the simplicity or the complexity in the battle system for how simple it is, if that makes sense. It's this like
Right,
simple
see,
little system.
That's probably what turned me off. In that it was too complex for me. I'm not a JRPG player, so if you
Right.
give me a battle system with more than 3 options and then 4 options within each of those 3 options, I'm out. Like I don't know what to do. Do I keep doing the same move? Who knows? So that part of it was not for me.
That's crazy.
Give a fight item run, and he's
Correct. That's yes, please tackle and screech.
Yeah, nice. See, this is the thing. Like, as far as JRPGs go, the battle system is really simple. Balthazar, I think at some stage you mentioned that it's kind of, it's made by the guys that made Bravely Default, and it's very similar to that. But more or less, there's a job system, and you have essentially a job system, and your characters are limited to the weapons that they can use. Those weapons.
So, can you explain what a job system is?
Okay. So job system being like each character can be like a fighter or a mage or or in this case like scholars and dancers and hunters and things like that. There's kind of
I see.
Yeah.
So it's not like you go to the local burger joint and flip burgers for 4 hours or something like that.
Nah, it's not that. Yeah, no, it's not that kind of job. But yeah, so like you fill those niches, and then basically your job limits you to what weapon you can use, and those weapons are able to kind of break down the defenses of the enemies that you face. But then alongside of that, each turn, so it's purely turn based. There's none of this kind of like active time bollocks. It's purely turn based, and when you break their when you essentially kind of cause a break on the enemies, they go into this kind of stunned state, and you can cause extra damage. But at the same time, each kind of round happens, you can build up these points, and then essentially kind of cash in those points to supercharge whatever move you want to do. And that's kind of it. Like that's sort of all there is to it. It's all turn based, and that's quite simple on the face of it, is just breaking down defenses and saving up your points to kind of supercharge your moves. But in that basic mechanic, it really sort of a lot of complexity comes out on the wash as you actually really get into which character can use what order are they attacking, do I break now and then use my my powerful character to cause extra damage. Like I don't know, it's just I found it really engaging from that perspective. So yeah, it's been a good time so far. And then
how have you found the story, Regan?
So the story's kind of interesting in that, and I guess this is some people had this concern with this game, was like, okay, you've got 8 different characters, like how does that work? Like how do their stories intertwine and that sort of thing? And from so I've put about 14 hours into it so far, which is still early days. And it sort of seems like the stories themselves are distinct from one another. So each character kind of goes through their story. You can form a party of the characters from the 8 characters that are available. But then the stories themselves are very distinct. Like they are separate and not necessarily, they don't intertwine into one larger story. And that might change as I get further through, but the kind of the stories that happen are distinct to the characters. In terms of how I like them, I think they're pretty cool. Like I get the sense that with each of, so I started with Therion, who's the thief type character, and I kind of get the sense that there's a lot that I haven't encountered yet. Like almost like they're still being set up. Like there's going to be some plot twists and turns, and I hope that's the case. I also hope that it's not just kind of predictable in the structure of the stories. Like, there's X number of chapters per character, and I hope it's not the same sort of thing that happens in each chapter for each character, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I'm going to sort of see how that pans out, but so far so good on as far as the story goes. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but each character is individual and interesting that I've found so far, and they have all their different kind of motives for traveling, and I'm loving it so far. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. I just have one more question. The story that I started during my 3 hours was, I think his name was Cyrus, and he was the scholar character, and everyone spoke like they were in a Shakespearean play. Is that the same with everyone? Is that just how people talk in that game?
Yes and no. Like there are a few of the characters, like Therion the Thief, for example. Like, nah, not really. Like it's proper English. Like, and there's a few sort of slang words thrown in there. But yeah, I mean Cyrus in particular. I did play through his little intro section, and there's also like a nobleman's daughter kind of thing as well, and so it's kind of appropriate. It's not all of them. It's all fairly kind of like, I guess I want to say formal language, I guess. But yeah, if you're playing the thief, it's less so. It's not all like that. Yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear, because I enjoyed that, but it was a bit dry at points. It sort of started to wash over me after everyone was talking about academic policy, and it was all thou and ye and all. I was like, oh Jesus, this is a bit too much.
To be fair, man, you did choose the scholar. Like
I did. I knew he was going to be a wank. I knew he was going to be a highfalutin little wank, but.
And he was, yeah.
It was okay. I still enjoyed my time with that part of the game. The story was enjoyable. Someone stole a book, and I had to go chase them, and that was very fun. I enjoyed that.
Yep. Nice.
But yeah, is that everything you've been playing there, man?
Yeah, pretty much. My final thought on it is that I'm just kind of looking forward to spending, like, it's a really good game for just like the train and the bus and that kind of space. So, yep, nice. I will keep you posted on how it all unfolds. So,
I thought you drove everywhere though.
Nah, not anymore. Taking the train now. Saves money.
On that public transport buzz.
Yeah, saves money, and I was getting to the point where driving was starting to destroy my soul. So, yeah.
I've got actually something off the back of that, not to move too far away from what we've been playing, but public transport. They've changed the buses in Wellington this past week, or last week it was. So they've changed the routes, they've changed some of the services, and for some completely inexplicable reason, they've changed number 2 and number 3. They've just swapped the numbers.
The most confusing change you could make, eh?
Yeah, and the thing that's super confusing, right, is number 2 is Wellington Station, number 3 is Karori, number 1 is also Wellington Station. So it went Wellington Station, Karori by the numbers. Now it goes Wellington Station, Karori, Wellington Station by number. Like, the change doesn't even make... I can't see why they did it. It didn't even bring anything in line. It brought things out of line. But my main frustration comes from the fact that I didn't know the change had happened, and I didn't look at where the bus was going. I just looked at the number, and I got on a 3 on Monday. And it just stopped at the station, and I'd gone like 20 feet from where I got on it. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I just spent $2 to be taken 20 feet further away from the destination I wanted to be going towards. It was, not happy at the moment.
Does your bus have
that sounds like a bit of a nightmare, man. But that's not the end of the world. You might even say it might be a little nightmare.
Oh, good one. Okay,
so I've been playing Tazia Studios' indie gem Little Nightmares, and I've finished the entire thing. I picked it up on PC during the Steam Summer Sale. I think got it for about $10 or something like that. And yeah, I've finished the complete thing. I'm doing a review on it at the moment, and I love it. I thought it was fantastic. It's it's a sort of it's a platformer, but it's one of those 2.5D platformers where, you know, a la Little Big Planet, you can sort of go in the background and go in the foreground sort of thing. It's very, very basic. It's sort of, there's a use button, there's a jump button, you have a lighter that you can pull out by pressing F on the keyboard, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's just escape from the nasties and make your way through the moor, which is the game's sort of setting, which is I won't actually reveal what it is. It comes pretty quickly in the game, but it's kind of fun to find that out. But yeah, it's really good. So if you imagine Playdead Studios inside, the sort of darkness of that game and the muted color palette of that game, it looks a little bit like that. Then add in those unbelievably disgusting, grotesque close-ups in SpongeBob that they have every now and then. You know,
I love those.
Freeze and it'll go up on someone's face, and they'll have flies coming out of their ears, and they'll have snot coming out of their nose, and imagine those are the enemies, and just humanoid versions, but with that sort of grotesque, horrible art style,
man.
and then mix that all in a blender with some sort of dark fairy tales. And that's pretty much what Little Nightmares is. You're a little girl in a yellow raincoat called Six, who's just trying to make her way through this horrible, desolate, dark, dank D-word place, and you know, trying to figure out what's going on and why you're here. And it's really good. The only qualms that I have with the game really is that on PC the controls are a bit meh. Like it's sort of your WASD, and then you've got the actual arrow keys sort of look the camera around, but you can't. And then you use the mouse to sort of grab, you know, to hold on to objects, or hold on to, say you'll jump and grab a chair or something to climb up on it. You'll have to use spacebar to jump and click in left mouse button to grab. So there's a lot going on there at the same time, and it is a little bit clunky at times as well. And I think shift is run or something like that.
I have a recommendation for you, Abe, if you're going to be picking up a few, you know, PC games that you've always wanted to play but couldn't run before.
Yep.
If you haven't already, I would recommend investing in a Switch Pro controller, because as well as being used for Switch, if you plug it in using the USB-C cable that comes with the Switch, you can use it with a PC as a PC controller as well.
Excellent.
So, yeah, I'd recommend picking one, just because I know you don't have a PS4 anymore, because those controllers can work as well with a little bit of tweaking. So yeah, if you were ever, you know, considering getting a Switch controller anyway at some point, it would also be useful for PC gaming.
Awesome.
For those, not everything, but yeah, those types of games particularly, you need a controller.
Yeah,
I will
agreed.
definitely think about picking up one of those, just because playing Donkey Kong, especially, there's a funny sort of dance you have to do with your fingers in that game where I always run in DK. I just always run. So I'm holding down whatever the square equivalent on the Switch is. Holding that down, and then jump is X, or whatever the X PlayStation equivalent is. So I'm holding down that and using my thumb to hold down that button, and using the bottom part of my thumb to jump. So it's a bit of a strange operation going on there. So I wouldn't actually mind a controller to get over that and make that a lot easier. But yeah, Little
Worth
Nightmares developed by Tazia Studios, who formerly they co-developed Tearaway Unfolded, and they did Little Big Planets, one of the Little Big Planets as well, like co-developed that with Media Molecule. I think they sort of probably helped with bits and pieces of it. Media Molecule were most likely the head honchos, but they jumped in and just helped out here and there. So yeah, it's fantastic, and the complete collection of Little Nightmares with the DLCs and stuff is available as well for, I think that's like under $20, so it's definitely worth it. So shout out to that game. It's awesome. It's very very good. Yeah.
Nice.
Alrighty, so we have missed out on news for a wee while, boys, but we do actually have some stuff to talk about this time. So we'll get into a few things that have happened over the last couple of weeks here. First thing, who has seen the Uncharted fan film that came out?
Yes. I think, have we all seen it?
I tried. I couldn't get through it.
Really?
It was so cringe.
I understand that, Balthazar, but I yeah, again, I'm probably in the middle of you guys. So Regan, tell me your thoughts on the Uncharted fan film, man.
I didn't mind it, to be honest. Like, I got through it and kind of enjoyed it. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not particular. Like, you guys are film guys, right? Like, you guys enjoy movies and
Yep.
you know, you have a thing with film, and I'm not so much. I think as long as it's kind of mildly entertaining, then I'm happy. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. Like, the acting was, you know, could have been a bit better perhaps, but it could have been a little bit more polished. But I think for what it was, like, it was all good.
So this is, yeah, I'll just try. This is the Nathan Fillion. Nathan Fillion and his, obviously his production company, or some people we got together with, made a Uncharted fan film, because the one that Sony's been making has obviously been tied up and been in development hell for probably like the last decade, I think. So Nathan Fillion, the fan favorite, you know, the guy that everyone thinks would suit Nate Drake perfectly, he went and did this Uncharted fan film, and just popped it up on the internet in the last sort of week or two. And yeah, I'm probably in the middle of you guys as per usual. I liked it. I didn't think it was anything special. I thought it was very cringe at points, Balthazar. I'll definitely agree with you on that. And it was a little bit pandery. That being said, it was probably the best that it could have been. I feel like, I was thinking about it, you know, it's very corny, it's very hokey, but that's just kind of Uncharted. That's always been Uncharted, right? It doesn't really... I think I just had more of a critical eye on it because it doesn't translate... It doesn't feel new or interesting in film form. You know, it only really worked for me in video game form, I think, because I knew I'd soon get to control the action set pieces or be engaged in the action set pieces sort of thing. Interact with them.
I reckon,
in film, I'm kind of just like, this is like a B-grade action movie.
I think it could be better if maybe like Nathan Fillion had more time with the character or something like that. To, like, you get the impression it was kind of these guys that were like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to spend like a week or two filming it, and we'll be done skis.
Yeah.
But I think if he, like, I don't know, I wonder what kind of research he did on Nathan Drake or that kind of thing. Yeah, I think if he just spent a little bit more time on the character and really just tried to nail it and do it as close to the Nathan Drake in the games as possible, it could.
I think
be
he
okay.
thought he was. I mean, he's played all the games repeatedly. He's talked about it a lot. He's a massive gamer. He loves the Uncharted series. He knows that character.
Yeah.
He was legitimately trying his best.
I
thought
think so.
that was how Nathan Drake would act in real life.
I think so too. I don't think we should put the onus on him in particular. I think it's the writing more than anything. The writing didn't... It felt more like... You know, this sounds a bit redundant, but it felt like someone trying to emulate Uncharted more than... And it is a fan film, and that's obviously exactly what it was. But it didn't feel like Uncharted. It felt like someone trying to be Uncharted, which felt... I think that's where the cringe factor came into it a wee bit.
I tell you what I think it felt like to me. Again, didn't see the whole thing, but what it felt like to me was Nathan Drake wasn't written as Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake was written as Matt Smith, the Uncharted fan who wants to set himself next to Nathan Drake in Nathan Drake's next adventure. You know, like, it was someone putting themselves in the Uncharted universe in lieu of Nathan Drake, kind of thing. Like, that's what it felt like to me.
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. Well, obviously, Nate's story has been tied up, and Naughty Dog has said that Nate's story has been tied up, and we obviously won't get more stuff from him, at least for a little while. So you think he's sort of the stand-in for the Nathan Drake archetype, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right.
The dude who's watched all the movies, played all the games, and thinks he can be the man now, kind of thing. Like,
right.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I was never excited for an Uncharted film. It was because, one, the Naughty Dog's games in general are very cinematic, and Uncharted took that to a new extreme. Uncharted was always the Indiana Jones that we all deserved, sort of thing. The video game of Indiana Jones that we all deserved, and that's what it was. When you take it back to film format, it's just a crappy version of Indiana Jones.
That's it, right? I don't think anyone really who actually thinks about it wants an Uncharted film, because the glory of Uncharted was that it was the first game to truly capture the experience of watching a really good action movie, but as a game.
Yeah.
Everything else had kind of fallen short, and so it's like, well, if you want Uncharted as a film, I mean, that's what Uncharted was. It was the game version of a good action film, so just go watch a good action film.
I agree, man. And unless they have those unless at one point he actually dies and it goes, and then the screen goes black and white, and then it goes I'm not in. I'm not in.
Nice.
I always love that. My favorite, I crack up so much when I'm playing Uncharted, and you'll just go through this massive dramatic set piece, and then you'll miss time a jump or something like that, and he'll just die and just ragdoll into like the side of a car.
Crumple up like paper.
Yeah.
You hear
That's
Sully or
always
someone scream, "Nate!"
He's like,
Nate!
Yeah. I just imagine, he just goes through this like harrowing ordeal and comes out of it by the skin of his teeth, and then just like mistimes a small ledge and goes into the abyss. And that's the end of that. But yeah, I don't think it was needed. But it was a fun time. Regan, you obviously enjoyed yourself. I enjoyed parts of it, and Balthazar, you weren't a fan of the stuff you saw there. So that's all okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about actually comes out today. No Man's Sky Next. We're right on the money here, boys. This thing's out now. I haven't actually read any impressions, or obviously people probably take a while to have a decent crack at it and see what it's like. But this thing is real, and Sean Murray seems to be. I mean, he's not despised like he was when No Man's Sky came out. Everyone's actually, from what I've seen, people are kind of back on board with No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think people are back on board with getting excited about it a little bit.
Right.
And it's funny, like I was thinking about this today, and it almost feels like the gaming community as a whole is like a toddler that's been told off and is feeling remorseful about their actions, and they're kind of like, after all of this time, they've gone, oh shit, we were pretty nasty to this guy. And I don't know about you guys, but I sort of hope that I don't think it's going to be a game changer. I don't think people are suddenly going to rate this game as top 10 of all time or anything. But I kind of hope that it's a little bit of redemption for them for sticking at it and sticking to their guns a bit. Yep. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to forgive. I'm ready to let it go.
I'm not. I was never really. I don't know. I never bought into all the vitriol and stuff like that. It's not. That's not really something that I enjoy doing. I don't really like hating things that much, and especially not hating people, and especially not hating game developers, because I know how bloody hard that job is.
Totally.
So I think from what I've seen, what you said, Regan, it doesn't look like a game changer. I would pick it up out of curiosity if I had the disposable income to spend on something like that, just to pique my interest. But I'm not going to, so I'm going to leave that to obviously you, Regan. I think you're going to pick it up, right?
I still have my original copy.
Ooh, you didn't trade it in for $5?
No, I've always been a little bit curious about No Man's Sky and just kind of where it's going to go. So yeah, no, I've still got it.
Interesting. Balthazar, your thoughts on this, man?
I don't care. Right? Like, it looks good that they've actually started to fulfill some of the original promises that were made before it came out. But I think I was kind of in the same boat as you, Abe. Like, I never really cared about the controversy because it was just a shit game. So what? I moved on and I played a good game, Yeah. Like, it was a shit game, and the trailers now show that it has multiplayer, but it's still just walking around scanning plants. I don't care. Like, it's not interesting to me. The core gameplay loop is still the same, and to me, it's crap. So I just don't care. Like, good on them. Like, they've made the game now that they said they were going to make at launch. Kudos to them for sticking to it after death threats and stuff like that from the community. But I mean, I don't really have an opinion on it because I mean I don't have No Man's Sky anymore, and I won't pick it up again to try the update. Fair enough. It'll just fly by, sail on by.
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny one because like I do it has piqued my interest and I'm intrigued to see what they've done, but at the same time, yeah, I remember playing it and just finding that loop of what was it, graviton balls or something like that, and you could essentially you just had to get these cores and just skip to the next star and then do exactly the same thing and skip to the next star. There was no reason for you to go outside of that tiny little core gameplay loop sort of thing, and it made a very trite and just it wasn't a good game, I suppose. But if they do, pull through with Next and they do add all the stuff that they promised at launch, I could see myself picking it up at some point just to have it as one of those games that I could listen to a podcast while I'm playing. One of those sort of background noise style games. So I'd enjoy if it existed for that purpose, but it's not something I can see myself sitting down and really honing in on. And I'm not a multiplayer guy, so I don't think I'd enjoy that part of it either. But kudos to Hello Games, and I'm glad they're, good on them for keeping at it, good on them for not taking the money and running. Obviously, they had to batten down the hatches when the bloody death threats and bomb threats and all that crap started coming in. That's absolutely ludicrous. But, I felt so bad. It's like the Gamergate thing, right? Like, that sort of shit makes me ashamed to be in this industry or to have an interest in video games when that sort of rubbish starts happening. Like, no matter how crappy your game is, it costs you $60 American, £60, or 90 New Zealand dollars. It's not worth saying to someone, I'm going to kill you and your family because the game's trailer had butterflies in it and the original the game didn't have those butterflies when it came out.
Yeah. Crazy, eh? I think if anything, regardless of No Man's Sky, the game and all that kind of stuff, there's a lesson to be learnt there for everyone. It's like, hey, come on now, be a human being, be a decent human being.
Regan, I wish you ran. I don't know, like I wish you had a Twitter account that you could just tweet to every single person, and you just had everyone, all the followers. Regan just has all the followers, and he just tweets out these things like, "Come on now, just be a good person. Come on, don't be a dick." There's
not that much to it. Like,
no.
Eventually, we're all going to be in the dirt, so just be nice.
Yep. And let's end the podcast on that. Thank you again for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back again in a fortnight. As per usual, you can find all of our stuff on YouTube, youtube.com/overcastgamer. Twitch, Regan, jumping back on that Final Fantasy stream tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely. We're staying with it, and we're going to finish the shit out of that game. We've still got probably a good, 20 weeks worth. So jump on board.
Nice one, man. 7 p.m. New Zealand time. So just jump on Google and do your conversions if you'd like to join in on that stream. And all the rest of our stuff, facebook.com/overcastgamer. The Twitch is twitch.tv/overcastgamernz. And as I mentioned at the start of the show, the website. Go check out the website because we're quite proud of it. We're a little bit proud of that. It's looking quite nice and it's future proof. It works on tablets, it works on phones, it works on desktop computers. So yeah, pretty happy with that. And well done, Regan, for making that happen.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime.
Sweet. So any parting words, fellas?
Go forth and have a fantastic week. And 7 p.m. Twitch.
Nice. 7 p.m. New Zealand time, Wednesdays, I believe, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Balthazar.
I'll put up that Detroit review this week.
Nice.
So check that out as well.
Very good.
It's a
Solid
video.
plug.
It has words.
It's a video, is it?
It's a video, and you'll hear voices talking about the game, and you'll get to see footage of the game. It's the future.
Don't sound too enthusiastic there. And yeah, as I mentioned, I'm working on my Little Nightmares review, which may be coming in video format as well. I'm starting to dabble in that, and if I can get something I'm happy with, I'll pop that out. Otherwise, it'll just be a written review. So look out for that on the website and on our social medias and all that good stuff. So thank you again for tuning in, everyone, and we will see you again in 14 days. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.